So something that we haven't really talked much about, but we did a review on last year, Silicon Valley. So HBO kind of finished up its springtime shows last night. Silicon Valley, Barry wrapped up. Atlanta also wrapped up, but we talked about Atlanta a lot. So why don't we put that on the shelf? Uh, Last year, when Silicon Valley season 4 wrapped up, I think what we said was the show seems to be kind of dropping off. I think with the news that came out about TJ Miller, um, verified or kind of gave validity to what we were seeing, in that it seems like there was a lot of disjointment and just like lack of interest from a lot of the people. But we were optimistic about this season because we thought Erlich Bachman gone can give Jimmy O Yang's Jin Yang a lot of room to shine. Maybe Monica folds into the mix. What did you think? I mean, was this a good season of Silicon Valley?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't spin. Season 4 was a lot of wheels spinning, and that's not to say that any season didn't spin wheels to a certain extent. Once you look back on Silicon Valley, it's been renewed for season 6, so we got 5 in the can already. This was only 8 episodes, not 10 this time, but I think this is definitely an improvement on season 4, and I think some of the best, like what the show can still do the best. There's still moments of that, but I do think that some people are getting a little restless with the plot. And like, you mentioned Jimmy O Yang and Monica. I mean, Jin Yang starts off really strong in this, and then he goes to China for most of the season, and he's not there. Now he's moved back and he's in Erlich's room. I hope they'll really commit to him being a part of the ensemble. And then the show has always struggled with its female characters, and Monica, again, barely in the season, and then she comes in really hot at the end. Just seemed like a weird choice. And then Lori Breen, I mean, I think making her an antagonist was effective and probably smart. Definitely. But her character has always been just a caricature, so they still kind of lack in that department. But speaking of what did well, I thought Zach Woods continued his run as the MVP of the show. God, is he hilarious. And then I think Martin Starr deserves some credit for the kind of tweaks he did with Guilfoyle. There are multiple moments where they basically just say, yeah, no. He's like, yeah, no, I am racist. You're right. But overall, I thought his comedy was good. And Dinesh, I feel like, got a lot of shine earlier in the show's run, but they've kind of spread it around among that core group. And while I think most people don't really like Richard, I think Thomas Miltich is still really good playing that character. So I think there's still a lot to like in with the show, even if the plot can kind of be frustrating.
Yeah. I think the thing I feel most frustrated with is it seems like this season they were kind of trying to find like the starting lineup they should be putting out there, in a way. It's like they had like 3 or 4 of the players, but they couldn't find like the 5th one that they really could build an episode around or build, like a story arc around. Because like you said, Jimmy O Yang's Jin Yang at the beginning of the season got a lot of shine. And I was like, okay, here we go. Like, we're going to have to invest in him. And then he gets put on the bench. Lori Breen, they kind of humanized with that episode where, her and Thomas Middleditch are kind of like talking about how hard it is to be a CEO and be wearing all this. And then she goes back to being this like ruthless, cutthroat, straight-faced CEO who's just trying to do whatever she needs to do to be successful. And Monica, I mean, like you said, just comes on really strong at the end, and they actually kind of humanize her in a way. But you see it for 2 episodes, and then who knows what her role will be next season. So I feel like this was a lot of like figuring things out post Erlich, which I guess probably should have been expected. And the show is still good, but I just don't think it's must watch the way it used to be.
Right. Yeah, I think they kind of figured out how to use Gavin again as like he's the B plot more or less, and then he'll rope back into the main plot at times. I think it's pretty effective. And still pretty funny. Like the supporting characters around him, I think, worked really well. But I mean, some stuff I think took a little too long this year. Like all the stuff about them like staffing up and getting those like other like little startups to join with them. Only for them to leave at the end. Like it kind of brings up the criticism of, oh yeah, no matter how much progress they make in Silicon Valley, Pied Piper will always just reset to 0. Now this time, things seem to be on the up and up. So we know probably in episode 2 or 3, it's like it never happened, just by assumption. But yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it's not the top tier comedy like a Barry or like Atlanta shows that just aspire to be bigger, and it's never not quite as good as Veep, but still pretty good. I mean, I still like the show more than the NBC offerings. I know you're a big Good Place fan, but yeah, I think it's still good. But I'm hoping that Mike Judge and the team kind of, like you said, figured out the lineup again with TJ Miller out of the way. And considering the upheaval with that, I think the season went pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, definitely. Do you like it more than Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which is now an NBC property?
Yeah, I mean, I've watched some Brooklyn Nine-Nine here and there. A lot of good people on that show. Yeah. I like Sandberg, I like Terry Crews, I like Joe Truglio. And that's a show that actually has had good character growth from what I've read, and also can like play with stereotypes and just liberal ideas like that. Silicon Valley this season kind of tipped its toes into that with Jimmy Yang's character specifically, and like you said, Guilfoyle and his racism. But I think it's not quite as progressive as something like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. But I think it's good that it's back at NBC, just because it's a show produced by Universal anyway, so it should be at NBC. But I mean, if you think of all like the great comedies this since 2000, I mean, The Office, Parks and Rec, and 30 Rock were on NBC. And who canceled Arrested Development? Fox. Just like they canceled Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So it just kind of makes sense. If you're a comedy, you want to be an NBC or HBO. Those are the two spots right now.
Definitely. I think my only last thought on Silicon Valley is probably the funniest bit that they had all season, at least for me, was in the last episode, the way Jared just destroyed Richard's helper or assistant. Right. Like just the way he like mentally beat him down. Like the character that guy became was hilarious.
Yeah, for sure.